we're Group 5, and we're here today to give you a quick demonstration on some RAINBIRD software. There's 3 levels of RAINBIRD software, the Stratus, Nimbus, and Cirrus. Today we're using the most elite brand of it, the Cirrus. Your first step is opening up the Cirrus page when you are in the RAINBIRD software. In this page, we get out of these little screens, but the first thing you're going to look at is this yellow flashing warning light up here at the top. You're going to click on that. That shows what has been done in this program recently. Since we're just starting fresh, we want to reset the alarm. With that button there, you're able to exit out of this and go back into it. And this will show you what the different indicators are from right there. First one, as you can see, is the interface connected. The next one, which we are in, is the demo mode. You have a red light for no field activity, green light for field activity, yellow light for system diagnostics, a blue flashing light for communication failure, a blue pause button for system pause, and as you seen earlier, the alarm messages shows up when you want to look at it. We will pass it off on to Joel now.
So up here is all your time and when the system's scheduled to come on next. So we want to schedule our system, we come into the system settings. And this will tell you if this is a satellite, and a radio, or if we're using a decoder. We're going to be using a decoder. So you just want to come in here, these 3 little dots, click that, select the decoder, make comments, or a comment could be RAINBIRD, and click OK. So now we're using the decoder. Next, we want to come into this little Earth here, international things. You can select languages, what units you want. We're going to use US units, so gallons per minute. This is just your flow pass. We're not going to worry about that because we're not hooked up to the pump. We're not going to worry about that because we're not hooked up to the pump. So here is where you select your areas. So just use the first letter of each area. So G for greens. You just come in here down to the drop box, select, there's the alphabet here. You can go down to G. Up to G.
It's in use.
So yeah, it's in use. So you just select G. And you select your area. So again, just type it in, greens. You can go all the way down. So greens, tees, fairways, perimeter, surrounds, approach, and rough. And that's your golfing areas. And then other areas, you do like the driving range, flower beds, hedges, and windy water features. So once you have all that entered, hit close. And next you go into your default data settings. So this is where you schedule how long each area is going to be running for. So this is your default runtime in minutes. So each area, so greens, tees, you can go into and type in, let's say you want to go 12 minutes, just type in 12, so green, keep it on 10. And yeah, that's about it. So here's post.
We remain on this same page. As we see in the top left, we have default runtime data. It's a stopwatch and a water droplet logo. We want to go right beside it and click on the default rotor data. When you open this up, it gives you an option list for each of your golf areas, and you can switch to your other areas that Joel has mentioned. Like so there's fairways and little shrub icons. You want to select the respective icon. Next, you go over the golf areas underneath the little rotor icon, and it gives you a drop-down list of all RAINBIRD sprinklers. Then you want to find your corresponding sprinkler. After you found that rotor, PSI is displayed on the top bar, and your number number nozzle with its according color is on the left. You want to find your respective icons and values for each setting, and it will give you your GPM. We remain on this same page. As we see in the top left, we have default runtime data. It's a stopwatch and a water droplet logo. We want to go right beside it and click on the default rotor data. When you open this up, it gives you an option list for each of your golf areas, and you can switch to your other areas that Joel has mentioned. Like so there's fairways and little shrub icons. You want to select the respective icon. Next, you go over the golf areas underneath the little rotor icon, and it gives you a drop-down list of all RAINBIRD sprinklers. Then you want to find your corresponding sprinkler. After you found that rotor, PSI is displayed on the top bar, and your number nozzle with its according color is on the left. You want to find your respective icons and values for each setting, and it will give you your GPM. This will input your GPM right underneath this icon here, water droplet and rotor icon. Now, here's a note that it is a default setting, so in the section where there are two rotor icons, it will come up default 2x2. So if you have your one-way decoders, as my next group member Dustin will explain, you must change this respectively per the decoder type.
Now that we got all our info down, we want to go to the second icon here, station detail. And up here we have all of our locations, greens, tees, fairways, perimeters, surrounds. And then up here, top left, is you can have which course. We're only doing one course, so it'll stay at one. And then right here, the golf green is how you select which hole you want to input your info on. So for hole 1 in greens, we'll just go to hole 1 and then click on the G. And then on this little plus symbol here, you want to add as many stations as you have out in the field. And right here under decoder, you're going to put your address. It will come up if you put in one that's already there. It'll let you know. So if I go 10, it'll say, yeah, no, 10's already there. So you'll have a sequence that has no overlaps. And then here also you have to select which decoder you're using out in the field. It will not input the one you wish for or wish to have there. And then here you have to also switch your number of solenoids in here. So if you have more than one solenoid running, you input that there, and then same here. So if we go to something that has more than one, we go to T's. And right here, the number of rotors right beside the single rotor symbol. Which is that? 2, 3, let's say. And that'll change your gallons per minute, but nothing else.
All right, so just to summarize a little bit, I'm going to take you through and add another hole. So we can go here. We know we got 2 in, so now there's nothing been done for hole number 3. So I'm going to start with the greens, and off my data here, I know that I have 4 green rotors, and so I come over here. And we know that the greens are the 601, so they have to be all changed individually. So the 601s, and then if you look over here, we know that there's only one each, and 1 rotor and 1 solenoid. So now I'm going to go to my T's. We're still on hole 3. I know I have 4 T's, so hit the plus button 4 times. It comes up with the proper, what's that thing? Decoder. Now what you have to watch for is if that says Cirrus, if there's 2 there, it automatically shows 2, but you have to come over here and change that one to 2 also. So on all of these, we would change these to 2. and maybe this one was a single, so you're gonna change this one to 1, and that would correspond to 1. So now I've got the tees in, you keep going, the fairways, we have 6 fairways, 7 fairways, they're the proper decoder, and fairways, they're almost always going to be 2s. Again, if this was a single at the end, then we'd come over here and change this to a single, and a 1, and you can keep going with your perimeter, surrounds, approaches, etc. But when you're all done that, and you want to get in your decoder number, all right, so yeah, so the last piece of this puzzle is to put your decoder address on each one. For our example, we're just going to number them consecutively. If your decoders in the field will all have their own address, and you have to punch in that address for each one. And then that pretty much sums up setting up your database.